Hello and welcome to BYJU'S IAS. Let's get started and look into our daily quiz. Let's look into the first question. With reference to Aravali range, which of the following statements are correct? The Aravali mountain range passes through 3 states. The highest peak is Guru Shikha. It is the oldest range of fold mountains in India. Which of the statements are correct? The answer to this is 1, 2 and 3. Now let's look into the explanation. When you look into the first statement, yes, it passes through 3 states. Which are the 3 states? It includes Haryana, it includes Rajasthan and Gujarat. Yes, it does pass through the Union Territory of Delhi as well. But the question is asking for the states, so the answer would be 3 states. Yes, the highest peak is Mount Guru Shikha and it happens to be one of the oldest range of fold mountains in India. Why have we taken this practice question? Because of the reference to the Aravali in the Hindu article. When you look into this particular region, the Aravali range, there are multiple states that come in the Aravali range as we have just discussed. The focus of this article is in specific reference to Haryana. It is also persistent in other states as well. What are we speaking about? We are speaking about the developmental model at the cost of environment. Whenever there is development that is taking place at the cost of environment, it means there is environmental degradation that takes place, ultimately violating the concept of sustainable development. So the article here is primarily focusing on limiting the development at the cost of the environment. Now let's look into the next practice question. Consider the following statements. According to Juvenile Justice Act of 2015, juveniles charged with heinous crimes and who are between the age groups of 15 to 18 years would be tried as adults and processed through the adult justice system. Heinous offences include the offences for which the minimum punishment under the Indian Penal Code or any other law for the time being in force is imprisonment for 5 years or more. Which of the above statements are correct? The answer to this is none. Why? When you look into the first statement, according to Juvenile Justice Act, who is a juvenile? Any individual who is less than 18 years of age will become a juvenile. According to Juvenile Justice Act of 2015, any individual who is between the age group of 16 to 18, if he has committed a heinous offence, such will be treated as offence committed by the adults. So it is not 15 to 18 years, but instead it is 16 to 18 years. When you look into the second statement, it is wrong once again. Why? Because heinous offences are those categories of crimes under IPC where the imprisonment is for 7 years or more. It is not 5 years, but instead it is 7 years. When you consider the offences, there are 3 types of offences. One is what is called as the petty offence. The other is serious offence. The third is what is called as the heinous offence. What is this petty offence? Let's say, for example, there is a person who has committed an act which is illegal in nature, and according to Indian Penal Code or any laws in India, if the imprisonment is up to 3 years, such person will fall under the petty offences crime. So any person who's committed an act which is less than 3 years or up to 3 years will fall under petty offences. What is this serious offence? Let's say a person has committed an act. It is illegal in nature. If the IPC declares that such person will be imprisoned from 3 to 7 years of age, that is what is called a serious offence. So what is serious offence? For which the imprisonment is 3 to 7 years. So those cases which is much beyond 7 years is what is called as the heinous offences. So any person committing the heinous offence will fall under the Juvenile Justice Act. Now you might ask me a question. What about the Juvenile Justice Act? How does this whole process work? How is the person held culpable under this particular law? For which we have an explicit video recorded by Sarmat sir. Kindly look into the video with respect to all the issues surrounding the Juvenile Justice Act of 2015. Why have we taken this practice question? Because of the reference in this article. Now let's look into the next practice question. In the Lancang Mekong cooperation, an initiative of 6 countries, which of the following are not a participant or participants? Bangladesh, Cambodia, China, Myanmar, Thailand and India. Which of them are not participants to the Lancang Mekong cooperation? The answer to this is 1 and 6 only. Why? Because Bangladesh is not part of this, India is not part of this. So the question is asking which are the countries not part of this cooperation. So it would be 1 and 6, and we have Cambodia, China, Myanmar and Thailand which are part of the Lancang Mekong cooperation. Why have we taken this practice question? Because of the reference given in the article. So which are the countries which are part of the Lancang Mekong cooperation? What we have is Myanmar, Laos, Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia and China. All these countries are part of what is called as the Lancang Mekong cooperation. What is this cooperation all about? This was established in the year 2016. Why was it established? When you look into this particular river, it is called as Lancang in China, and this river is called as Mekong in other Southeast Asian countries. So where does it originate? It originates in China. It passes through all these countries. So what was China up to? China was constructing dams in these areas wherever this Lancang flows through. As a result, the lower riparian countries were facing a lot of difficulties. One, there was excess water released by China sometimes, or this also led to drought-like conditions in all these countries like Myanmar, Thailand, Cambodia, so on and so forth. In order to ensure that these differences are sought, why? Because river is very important to every single country. The agriculture is based on it, the trade is based on it, the livelihood is based on it, which is why they wanted to sort out the differences between China. So all these countries where the Lancang Mekong flows through came up together. They came up with one of the cooperation agreements called as Lancang Mekong cooperation. So this particular agreement is nothing but how exactly are we going to manage the water flow between China and other countries is what is this Lancang Mekong cooperation. Now let's look into the next practice question. Which of the following countries border Peru? Venezuela, Colombia, Paraguay, Chile and Bolivia. The answer to this is 2, 4 and 5 only. Why have we taken this practice question? Because of the reference to this article. When you look into Peru, where is it? It is on the western side of South American continent. So which are the countries in and around? What we have is Brazil, Bolivia, Chile, Ecuador, Colombia, but there are other countries which are not bordering with Peru, and that includes Venezuela and that includes Argentina as well as Paraguay. Since all the countries of Colombia, Ecuador, Brazil, Bolivia and Chile are making and forming the boundaries with Peru, the answer to this would be 2, 4 and 5. Now let's look into the next practice question. Regarding carbon credits, which one of the following statements is not correct? The carbon credit system was ratified in conjunction with the Kyoto Protocol. Carbon credits are awarded to countries or groups that have reduced greenhouse gases below their emission quota. The goal of the carbon credit system is to limit the increase of carbon dioxide emission. Carbon credits are traded at a price fixed from time to time by the United Nations Environmental Program. Which of the statements are not correct? Since it is asking for the not correct statement, the answer to this is carbon credits are traded at a price fixed by time to time by the United Nations Environmental Program. This happens to be a wrong statement, and this is a previous year question from the year 2011. Now let's look into the fact of the day. The fact of the day for today's discussion happens to be World Food Safety Day. In 2018, we have the United Nations General Assembly which decided that every year June 7th will be the Food Safety Day. What is the theme for the year 2021? The theme for the year 2021 happens to be Safe Food Today for a Healthy Tomorrow. The World Health Assembly back in the year 2020 also passed a resolution to strengthen efforts across the countries, across the continents to ensure that there is food safety, and also wanted to control the foodborne diseases as well. So what is the agenda of the World Food Safety? Basically, this is about food security, this is about good health, this is to bring livelihood means and mechanisms for the global community, economic development because of the food production, and also trade food for the sustainable development of the entire countries and the global population. So the World Food Safety Day is celebrated every year on June 7th to bring an awareness about the importance of the food security, treat food not only as an agricultural or a trade commodity, but it also has to be treated as a public health issue and concern. Why? Because it does bring into picture the livelihood means and mechanisms of multiple sectors of the society, which is why remembering it, creating it, developing it, and also coming together of the global community for the food security is the importance of World Food Safety Day. It is this that we have to understand in reference to this article. So this is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.